Welcome everybody to the Fourth Wall Wrestling Podcast. I'm Will and I'm here with Brandon. Say hello, Brandon.
What's up, guys? How you doing today?
So, as you probably can see, this is the first installment of the Fourth Wall Wrestling Podcast. But before we get into the Raw review, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a preview of what's to come each week. So, as you can see, we're here with the Raw review today. This will be a weekly thing, and we will also be covering NXT, SmackDown, Dynamite, and of course Raw the day after it happens. So the day after it happens, we'll be filming and posting a review just like we are today. And then on the weekends, we'll be bringing you our flagship or our main show that basically covers the week in wrestling in AEW, WWE, New Japan, any big news, called Breaking the Wall. So, we're the Fourth Wall Wrestling Podcast. We got to break that fourth wall every weekend. And then when there's pay-per-views, Monday afternoon, we'll record it, put it up, and there you go. So that's kind of like what the schedule will be like each week. So we're here with the Raw review today. You'll get a sense of how we are with each show as time goes on, but I can promise you one thing: we're gonna be unbiased. Both companies we cover, they do stupid crap. They do very good things, but a lot of the time, you're gonna get a mixture. And I feel like with Raw last night, it wasn't that way. It was a lot of bad, a little bit of good, and that mixture that you normally see in a wrestling show, it wasn't there. The bads outweigh the good, but you'll get honest, unbiased coverage from us, and we're going to get going with the Raw review. But before we get into anything specific, Brandon, I want to get your overall thoughts on the show, what you thought of it, and, coming off of an incredible
Yeah,
Money in the Bank pay-per-view, what were your
yeah.
overall thoughts on the show without getting into anything too specific?
You know, I'm gonna say this going into it. You can definitely feel the energy because the energy from this whole weekend has still been felt throughout these past few days, right? With
Right.
crowds being back, and I feel like last night was kind of the night where everybody were like starting to get used to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's
The
back to
luster
normal,
fell off.
everything, right? Kind of, but the crowd, they were still very, very loud. Texas is always very loud. Uh the show, it wasn't good. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't good. It wasn't good. Um, you know, I'd say I'd say everything I'd say everything after the first 30 minutes just
Right.
went downhill.
That's how
Yeah,
I felt.
yeah.
For
And
me,
so yeah, go ahead.
the first 30 minutes felt like, maybe they have something here with Cena, and that six-man tag match wasn't bad.
Mhm.
But after the first 30 minutes, it felt like regular old Thunderdome Raw. And everybody
Yeah,
tried to say, well, when crowds come back, maybe it'll get better. No, it's not. The same people are still in creative power. The same people that ran these shows 2 weeks ago are still running them now.
hmm,
And the fact of the matter is, and what people have to realize, is that things are not going to change. They're not. Unless
no,
you have different people behind the creative desk, unless you have people who listen to the writers, nothing is going to change. And it sucks. It does. Everybody knows that. But you have to watch the show with a bit of a mindful eye, knowing that what you see that looks different, like Cena being on Raw, that was great. It was refreshing. I've been waiting for Cena to cut a promo for a long time. You know,
yeah,
ever since like his rivalry with the Fiend, I've been waiting for him to cut a promo for a long time, and it felt
yeah,
refreshing. But after that, there was really nothing else. So I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, I saw everybody saying, well, fans are back, and this show it feels really, really different. And, it's really, really good. I mean, fans being back are great. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes to creative and booking, the show is nothing without without that. The fans are cool. They're great. I'm happy. I'm happy they're back. But they don't contribute to how the show comes off.
Right.
It didn't come off good. It
And
didn't come off good.
and to add on to the fans, yeah, it was good. The having fans back is probably the greatest return in professional wrestling history. Me and you, Brandon, are going to a couple of events coming up in the next few weeks. In 8 days from now, we're going to fight for the Fallen for AEW.
Which, yes, it's going to be a great show. I know
Which,
it.
from the way they're building things, it looks as if it's going to be a great show. And
And the thing about it is AEW, they have now WWE does this on occasions, right? With big shows. But I'm talking about like AEW, they brought their fans back, like a couple weeks before, WWE
right,
did. And so AEW, like if you noticed for like a little bit now, they've been selling out shows without saying a single word about what's happening.
right. We went to get
And that,
tickets for
yeah,
Fight for the Fallen. I went on the it was the night that they went up, I think, the night that they started to sell tickets for that event. And it was slim pickings if you didn't want to pay a couple $1,000s to sit ringside.
yeah.
So these guys are selling out shows week after week, and they're not saying a word. And then
No.
WWE's doing pretty much the same right now, but there's going to be a
See,
line.
yeah.
There's
The
going to
thing
be a
with
line.
WWE is they still tease something for the show
Exactly.
that gets you excited. AEW does nothing at all. They just announce that where they're going, where the location is, buy tickets. This is the date.
Right.
And they sell out.
And you don't have these guys on the dirt sheets, predicting this guy's going to return here because he's from here
Yeah,
for
that's
AEW.
another thing.
You don't have
Yeah,
that with
like with
AEW.
AEW, everything is a legit surprise.
Exactly. Who knew Malachi
And
Black was showing up when he did?
nobody,
Nobody knew that.
no. Only thing we knew is that he was in talks with Tony. Was like when the 90 days are up, he'll probably be there. After all that, yada yada yada. No,
Everybody
that
knew he
night,
was going, but nobody knew
yes,
that it was going to happen at Road Rager when it did.
so soon. No,
And I mean, that was because of Vince McMahon's stupidity when it comes to
yeah,
contractual
and
obligations.
and and not even just Malachi. It's just like the little things they do. With the last Casino Battle Royal, Leo Rush. Nobody knew he was planning to do some AEW, and unfortunately now he's retired. But still, that thing was just a legit surprise.
Exactly.
Nobody knew.
I don't want to turn this into an AEW thing, but the big difference is when AEW brings back the crowds, things changed a little bit. Their shows were good pre fans coming back, but you can see the little things in these past two shows, past 5 shows with fans back. You can see those small differences.
Yeah.
And another important thing you're going to see from them, the guys who get the pops, the guys who get the crowd reactions when their music hits, they're going to do something with them. Vince McMahon is not going to.
No.
Ricochet put on a phenomenal show at Money in the Bank. Vince isn't going to do anything with it.
I don't see, like, after the show and Ricochet give off, how does you not pushing him in the near future to a world title, having him be the face of the company, not come across your mind?
Nikki Cross can become a women's champion, but Ricochet can't get a push.
And it's just a, it's starting to become a thing about where when the superstars, for the non-established superstars in each division, right? So the non-established superstars in the men's side and the non-established superstars in the women's side, I think it's safe to say that the women that are not established yet in WWE who are on the main roster kind of get treated better than the dudes,
Right?
Because they still get shown on TV every week. They still like Nikki.
Right.
Out of nowhere, she just appeared back on Raw. Out of nowhere.
Right.
Not established or anything. She gets this new gimmick, and she starts going crazy. Oh, Nikki Cross. Oh, Nikki A.S.H. Believe your dreams. Yada, 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 right?
Right.
And it's like guys like that who've had great characters and have the same message. They've been doing this thing for like 2 years. and it's just like they're on an agenda. Now, granted, there is more men in the division than there are women because
Right, and that was
there's
my
not that
next
many
point.
women.
You
Yeah,
know, we, there's a line. There's two different things that I notice when I see how the difference between men and women. The women are not showcased like the men, but the women are showcased more, I'd say.
yeah,
I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this, but the less time that the women have, they're at, you know, it's hard to explain. Okay, the less women there are, it kind of opens a door for certain women. Like if the women's division was as big as the men's division on SmackDown, Liv Morgan would not
mm,
be getting a push like she is,
uh,
right?
yeah,
So in a way, you can say that having less women benefits people, right? Liv Morgan, Tamina's getting benefited from it.
right. Now, see, there's also a positive side to it. Now,
Right.
if
Can you hear me?
what was that sound?
I have no idea.
Wow, that was painful. I had to turn my phone down. Um,
I'll edit this out.
yeah, okay, you keep going.
Yeah.
All right. So what was I saying? So I feel like the positive side is if not only if they had less time on TV. And okay, and when I say like less time, I don't mean like back to like the 1 minute matches and the 2 minute. I don't mean that. I don't mean that.
Right.
I'm talking about the segments. The segments. When I feel like having the multiple women segments throughout the show where it comes to a point where it's more than the men. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like if you just book them good in that and give them that time slot of that time and then go back to the men, it'll make people want to see the women more and get
Right.
excited for what's to come next week.
And there's a lot of talented women on the SmackDown. SmackDown's always the example I use for the women's division because Raw's women's division is trash.
Yeah.
SmackDown,
Now Raw's women's they have talented stars. They have
exactly. They have
but it's
talented
more
people. They don't know how to
yeah,
book them.
no. And at least SmackDown tries.
When you look at SmackDown, you have your core group of women, right? You got
Yeah,
Bayley who's injured. You have Sasha
yeah,
who's away. You have Bianca
yeah,
who's the champ. You have Carmella who
yeah.
they respect and who they book on TV in a big role, which they should because she's money. She is a
Right.
money superstar to build off of
Yeah,
in the women's division.
yeah.
When,
Carmella's great.
and then you have the middle tier with the Zelinas, with the Livs, with the who else?
You got Naomi, who's
With the
apparently on SmackDown now.
Naomi's who's moving to
Yeah,
SmackDown, who should be in the A tier, by the way. Naomi is great.
yeah.
Um,
One of the former SmackDown Women's Champions. She should be in the A tier, but she's
yeah.
not treated like it.
And then you can throw in a Natalia, right? The middle tier
Yeah,
of women who you should put on TV every week to showcase and give them enough time to, you know, be in front of
yeah.
fans, get reactions, get over.
And I think after for Money in the Bank, I think Zelina and Liv, I think they're definitely going to start using them more on the show. Coming from the reaction they got, not even just on Money in the Bank, but on SmackDown too.
Right.
Yeah, it was just good. I want to think they would. I have more faith in SmackDown than I do Raw. If it was Raw, I'd be like, forget it. It was like a one night thing, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Right. And then you have the bottom tier in my eyes. You have, the new additions of Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan
Mm-hmm.
Knox
Mm-hmm.
and Tamina and
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Tony Storm down there because I don't know how they're gonna use her. But
Yeah.
you have
I
those.
mean, Tegan and Shotzi are probably gonna do great, but as of right now,
as
because
of now,
they're new.
I
Yeah.
don't I don't see anything right now. But those are the women that you need to put in the ring and try to get them over, because what I see with the women's division is a lack of build towards the people that you need to be building, right? On
Mhm.
Raw, you're focusing on Eva Marie, who I've seen dead cats have more talent than Eva Marie. Eva Marie has zero talent,
Yeah.
and
None.
you're focusing
How
on
do you?
her over on Raw over someone like Naomi. It doesn't make sense. Naomi's probably top 3 talent in the women's division right now.
Mhm.
And if she had the time on these shows to be able to cut a promo, I guarantee you, people would start to see not only her stock rise, but other women's stock rise too. Because if you put her
And this
in,
is why I say Naomi going to SmackDown. The best thing for her is joining Roman. Is just joining Roman and and Jay and her husband Jimmy.
right?
Because
Because
like with that, I think people forget how good Naomi as a heel was. Like with
yes,
Team Bad with Tamina and Sasha Banks, she was so good.
exactly. And that's where you start opening the doors for other women. Because you put Naomi in the bloodline, they're gonna take Naomi seriously,
Oh yeah,
and that opens doors for women she feuds with, like Bianca. She's not gonna be cutting the same promo she is now. A
no.
Liv Morgan or a Zelina, they're gonna, you know, rise from it.
And
So
it's gonna be because Naomi's attached to Roman.
exactly, because they're gonna care.
Anything if you're with the slightest bit,
Right.
it's gonna be one of the most important things on the show and in the company.
There's a lot of talented women in WWE, but they don't book them correctly.
Mm-mm.
Carmella, nobody cares how you look. If I cared how you looked, I wouldn't be watching wrestling.
Now Carmella, I feel like she was one of the lucky ones. I personally feel Carmella from the jump, ever since she got drafted from NXT, was used pretty well.
Yeah.
Now she had that awkward period where she was with R-Truth and really didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they brought her up and started having her rival with Nikki Bella. Even though Nikki Bella is like a how do I say this? She's not a Trish Stratus or Lita level, but when you think about the past division, that like when they were still in the Divas, right?
Right.
It's just Nikki Bella. Modern day is just one of the names that come to your mind
Yeah.
when you think of women's wrestling. So to
She's
have
a
them,
building block of the women's
yeah,
division.
right. So I feel like to have Carmella just go straight into a feud with her and just give her major heel heat for just technique. I think that was great.
Right. If
That was really good for
2016
her.
through 18 was probably, if I remember correctly, probably some of the better, maybe even the best period for the women's division.
Oh yeah.
If they went and looked back on that time period,
And I'd even go to early 2019 too.
yeah,
I feel
because
like
that's when it was at
after
the
Wrestle,
forefront.
I feel like after WrestleMania 2019 is when everything for the women's division went downhill
After
because it was
WrestleMania
like
35, they were like, oh, well, the
yeah,
women main event at WrestleMania, we don't care anymore.
and yeah, like that. But it was also just like a what now?
Yeah. What do we do now that they've main
We've
evented?
done everything
Ronda
because they
left.
fed everything to us. Yeah,
Ronda
Ronda
left.
left.
Charlotte and Becky feuded. They tried to add Lacey into it. It didn't really work. Bailey
No,
started to rise. Sasha came back in, what was it, late August.
yeah,
And then it was a two-woman division from then on. Sasha and Bailey. And Becky
yeah.
until she relinquished.
And then they had the women's tag team titles. But to be honest with you, I don't remember anything about the women's tag team titles after WrestleMania. I don't.
No.
I don't remember what they did with
I
them.
don't remember much of the women's tag title history up
Nope.
until Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
When,
When Kabuki Warriors got them,
yeah,
that's when I started to care about them because Kyrie and Oscar were great.
yeah.
They're
But
really great.
anyway, that's just our little rant on how to make the women's division better. Um,
Yeah.
but now we'll move into actually things that happened on Raw. And like I said, the show That was probably one of the worst Raws outside of the first 30 minutes. Probably one of the worst Raws in recent memory. And Cena's great. Riddle's great. Everybody involved in that 6-man tag match minus Omos is great. But
Yeah,
after that,
and Omos is growing on me. Actually, he's getting way better since Mania. You can see the growth. You can
I
tell he's putting in the work.
yeah, he's a likable dude. I like him, but he's not someone that you put on TV and run with yet. You can't run with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But him and AJ have been pretty entertaining. But there's not much of a reason for me to care about him. But another guy we don't care about is Bill Goldberg.
oh my gosh.
The rumors, we heard him leading up to the show. We knew it was probably coming. We dreaded the moment that it happened. And I knew when they announced that Bobby Lashley Open Challenge that it
Yeah,
was
I knew it was
happening.
up. Yeah, I knew it was up.
My original thought was that Goldberg would answer the challenge, and instead of taking a match, then say I want you at SummerSlam for the title. I thought that was what was gonna happen.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna happen too.
And then I remembered actually that there were rumors that Keith was gonna return, and so I kind of kept Keith in the back of my mind. But then again, who backstage cares about Keith Lee? They haven't cared about Keith Lee at all on his time in the main roster. So
No.
I really didn't bet on that happening. I thought it was going to be Goldberg. And then they make Keith Lee come out. They squash him in 6 minutes. Not much better than what happened to Kofi.
No.
You have Keith
But see,
disappear.
but Kofi squash was a good squash
Yeah,
because
it
it
was
made
a
sense to the
9-minute
story.
squash.
Yeah.
Which it was probably one of the best booked squash matches in WWE history.
Yeah.
Argue with the wall if you disagree.
It was really good.
You have Keith come out. You squash him in 6 minutes. They kind of put themselves in a predicament. You can't have Bobby lose after he demolished Kofi. And he's about to fight Goldberg. If he loses to Keith Lee, he's losing to Goldberg. Unfortunately, but he didn't. And you can't why would you have Keith lose his first match back? And that proves to you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro.
It proves.
And then it's disrespectful almost because you have the nerve to do it in his home state.
Exactly. The dude's from Texas. You have him come out. He gets squashed. And then he disappears when Oldberg's music hits. My first issue, I have many issues with this entire sequence. But my first issue is the fact that you bring Keith back as what you call a gateway. A gateway is someone that, helps feed into the next part of the show. So you have Keith come out, get squashed, Goldberg comes out. That's a gateway. I have 100% an issue with the way they use Keith in that situation because that's not how you use a guy of his ability. You don't have him come out
Not at all.
in his first match back in his home state and lose, and then just bring back a legend to try and, bring ratings, which is not happening. Bill Goldberg is not a draw.
No.
Nobody wants him back, except for
No.
the idiots in Texas who cheered for him.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm just gonna go with that. They were in the moment, and whether and even though Goldberg sucks, he can't do what he used to do anymore. That's been Survivor Series 2016 should have been Goldberg's last match ever.
Exactly. There was no reason to give him the Universal title.
No.
And ruin.
Or I'll go out on a stretch and say, oh yeah, he could have made a Royal Rumble appearance in the Rumble. That was fine. A little elimination, whatever. But after that, should have been it.
Exactly.
WrestleMania 33 should have been either Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens for the Universal title or Kevin Owens versus a returning Finn Balor.
Right.
Not Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar.
No, there was no reason to do anything with Goldberg around a title for the last 4 years.
No.
My second issue with this is not only did you use him as a gateway, but you had Goldberg return, right? Which is the
Yeah,
main issue I have. Goldberg should not be back. And then you have Keith come out, you use him as a gateway, and you squash him. There's ways to use a gateway talent, which is what they used him as. No way to dodge that. There's other ways to use it. You could have had them put on a match like Keith did with Drew. Drew and Keith on Legends Raw had a great match, and then Goldberg
great.
came out.
Yep.
Why can't you take the time to make Keith look like a legitimate force against another legitimate force in Bobby Lashley, and then bring Goldberg out? Which I don't think you should bring Goldberg out at all. Goldberg should not be anywhere near a title or a WWE show, in my opinion. And my third issue is probably Keith isn't going to be seen for quite a while. I may be wrong. He may be on next week, but he's not going to be taken seriously. Keith Lee is buried. But
Been buried.
he's been buried.
Yeah, it's just sad to see. And then who is on the speakers when Keith Lee comes out? You can barely hear his theme.
Exactly. He comes out. It's like they're hiding his theme music.
When I was watching last night live, I heard, I heard the suspense going. Who is he going to be? I hear the crowd cheering. All I see is a green light. I hear no beat drop. I'm like, well,
Exactly.
what's happening? Then they turn over, and I noticed the Tron. I'm like, okay, it's Keith Lee. You can barely hear his theme.
Yeah.
Like what's they need to bring Bask and his glory back.
Exactly.
I'm
There's
tired.
no
I'm tired of
reason.
hearing. I'm tired of hearing. Well, CFO. It's a no. They can't. If that was the case, nobody on the roster at all would have a CFO thing. There's
Exactly.
plenty.
CFO money has people can say it's a licensing issue all they want. No, it's the fact that Vince has a vendetta against people that come up from NXT.
Yeah.
You saw it with another guy tonight, which we'll get into in a moment, which pissed me off. But, Shinsuke Nakamura brought back his CFO money theme. He went away from it and brought it back.
And even when he went away from it, you can still hear it in the background. It was still CFO, but just remixed.
Exactly.
And then they brought back the first original CFO.
Matt Riddle uses
So I
it.
mean,
Shayna Baszler uses
yep,
it.
yep.
Other people use it. I don't have time to list everybody.
Yeah.
But it's not a licensing issue. It's a Vince McMahon and NXT issue. Speaking of NXT, oh my God, the NXT champion Karrion Kross made his main roster demotion official tonight.
Wait, Will.
What?
Who?
Right, yeah.
Did you say Karrion Kross?
Yeah.
No. That was someone on our TV last night?
Yeah. I can't believe it.
My fault. Thought it was, a My Career Chris Danger creative character.
Yeah.
My fault.
He looked like, he really looked like somebody from 2K20. Like, they cut back. He's standing on the ramp. He's got barely any smoke. There's smoke coming up from behind him, but it's not what it was in NXT. No Scarlet. Nowhere to be found. You got nothing special about his entrance. He just strolls to the ring, holds the title up, and then boom, it cuts to commercial.
Yeah, beats on his chest like Tarzan.
Yeah. We come back from commercial, and you hear no more words, which was great. As a fan, I popped. I love Jeff Hardy. I love the theme that he used up until his return. Great. Jeff Hardy's back. He brought back his theme. He's about to get squashed. Karrion Kross is going to have a good night, even though he was pretty much dismantled, picked apart by Vince in his entrance. But no, 3 minutes. Jeff Hardy beats Karrion Kross. And you know, I had the blankest look on my face when that happened because I knew from that moment on that what they're going to do is they're going to have Karrion relinquish the title or lose it some way. I mean, that was his first defeat in WWE. Now that he's lost on the main roster, why wouldn't he lose in NXT? So,
It's
I don't know. It
you said you had a blank look on your face. When it happened, I, it was so sad to see and so bad. I actually started laughing
yeah, the
because
look
I
of
saw it coming.
yeah, I saw it coming from a mile away. Not the fact that he was going to lose. I didn't see that. I thought he was going to squash Jeff Hardy. But I saw the burial. Karrion Kross is buried. I see people online. I saw a post today on Instagram. They're like, Karrion Kross is not buried. Give it time. They're just trying to get Jeff Hardy over. You can get Jeff Hardy over against frickin' Angel Garza. Why would you have
Thank you.
him beat?
And then only that, if he were to get over in Angel Garza, it wouldn't have to be a 3-minute match that ends with a roll up. They could have had a classic.
Exactly. Angel Garza is a very good performer. So is Jeff Hardy. Put those two guys in the ring together. Have both of them get over with good matches. But no, we got to waste the NXT talent. We got to pick them apart. We have to dismantle them right in front of everybody's eyes because Vince McMahon hates NXT.
And then your champion,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
NXT champion.
Imagine 5, 6, 7 years ago, however long it was, Kevin Owens comes up to the main roster and loses in a 3-minute match in his first time on the main roster. Imagine they treat Kevin Owens back then the way that they treated Karrion Kross now.
Imagine, look at it like this. To the people who only watch Raw, not NXT, who are idiots, who I don't understand, but for the casuals who just watch Raw, right? And they see and let's say they've been seeing the NXT previews for weeks about Cross.
Right.
Oh wow, he's looking bad. Oh wow, he's cool. And then you see, oh wow, he's gonna be on Raw tonight. This is exciting. You see the match. That's what all the hype's about. I'm never watching NXT now.
Yeah,
That's your
exactly.
champion. That's how you treat him on Raw.
It's a bad look for
What?
NXT.
Exactly.
Not only is it a bad look for NXT, but it's a bad look for the main roster as well. Because you got guys coming up like Karrion Kross. He's a monster in NXT. He hasn't lost. He comes up and he loses to Jeff Hardy in 3 minutes on a roll up. It's
And
mind boggling.
yeah. I'm not trying to put down Jeff Hardy, but
No, I love Jeff.
he he's a big, Jeff's a big star,
Right.
you know.
Everybody knows who Jeff Hardy is.
But I don't want to say he's not relevant anymore, but
No, he's not relevant anymore.
yeah, like he's like, oh, I love Jeff Hardy, yada yada yada. When you talk about wrestling today and people, you get excited for Jeff Hardy, but if you would have asked me Karrion Kross versus Jeff Hardy, I would have automatically said, oh, Jeff Hardy's losing.
Exactly. In a squash match.
Yeah,
This guy has been irrelevant in catering for what? Almost 9 months now? Ever since he moved
yeah.
to Raw. He's been irrelevant and in catering. You haven't done anything with him that would suggest that he is cared about or that they want to do anything with him. And then you go out there and you have him beat Karrion Kross, the NXT champion, in his first match on Raw. It's confusing. And it pisses me off. It really does. Because
It
you have Triple H down there. Every person he invests time into, every guy he gives the smoke and mirrors, every guy he, invests time and money and, you know, any effort to build them up and make them feel like a star, they go to the main roster and, instead of flourishing like they should, they end up being a loser.
so like, what's the Vince? What's the point of you know, funding NXT then and
Exactly.
contributing to NXT if you're just gonna change everything about the star when you
Right.
do it. And then the sad thing about it is Triple H is gonna have to keep doing it
Exactly.
because sometimes there are lucky ones. You just have to go every time. It should be you're about to go on the main roster, you're about to be a star, but no, it's you're about to go to the main roster, hope for the best.
Exactly. That's not how it should be.
Hope you end up like Kevin Owens or a Sasha Banks or a Sami Zayn or one of those
Right.
because they got it good. They had it good. they're top stars now. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But it's like the new NXT 2015 to
2018.
I'd say 2015 about I'm gonna say 17. They had it good.
Right.
After that, no.
Yeah, because in 2018, you think about the stars that got caught up in that period. Not really anything good. Ooh, voice
Yeah.
crack. um, but there's not much else to say about this whole Karrion Kross situation. He's buried. It's done. Vince has ruined him.
And I don't want to hear Cross say anything tonight on NXT.
No, there's no
Don't
reason
if
for
he
him to
picks
be on
up
the
a
show.
mic, if he picks up a mic and starts saying how good he is, I'm going to mute my TV
Exactly.
because it's a lie.
There's no reason for him to be on the show.
He looks like a complete joke.
Have Regal come on and say that the title's relinquished. Get it on Adam Cole, and then call it a day. Here's an idea. Have Cross relinquish the title. Cole and O'Reilly are tied at 1. SummerSlam weekend. Cole versus O'Reilly 3 for the title.
Yeah,
There's your
I mean that's money.
there's your SummerSlam Takeover main event.
And last week I was excited about. Oh man, this is about to be a great SummerSlam weekend. Cross
Right.
versus Joe. This is about to be amazing. I
Right.
do not take Cross serious at all.
No, after last night, there's
And
no reason
now,
to.
and not even that. Now, low key, you make Joe look stupid because you
Exactly.
have him go to sleep.
Because Joe got put to sleep by the guy that just got buried.
Anybody who's ever been put in a ring with Cross, really, they made them look dummy,
Weak.
like a dummy last night
Exactly.
and weak.
I don't understand it. I really do not. I cannot fathom the anger I felt last night. It was terrible.
This man, Karrion Kross, goes through a wooden door and take over in your house, gets back up and comes in and destroys everyone,
Exactly.
and can't kick out of a roll up from Jeff Hardy.
Exactly. It's very confusing, but there's not much else to say.
And then I saw people saying, "Well, no, 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 this is a story. So now when he finally leaves NXT, he'll have somebody to rival with and destroy." Okay, if that's the case, you could have gave him the Kevin Owens route and just have him, demolish Jeff Hardy and like it. Okay, this is how would have had it win. Not even just flat out beating Jeff Hardy to keep both of them looking good and set them up for a rivalry while Jeff Hardy's making his entrance.
Exactly.
Have Cross come over and just I'm talking
Kill him.
about take out Hardy. Don't even let the match start. Not only does that ruin the rest of No More Words and makes everybody start booing Cross, he just looks like a beast and a savage.
It gives him heel heat.
That's what I'm saying. Like WWE doesn't think that way.
No, Vince. I don't see any creative vision for any of the NXT guys for Vince or Bruce. But there's not much else to say on it. It's terrible. Cross is buried. It's hard to care about him anymore. So we're going to move on to the third thing that I absolutely dreaded about this show. Another Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley match that ended in a DQ. When we get into the full show review, we'll break it down more. But what I really want to talk about here is Nikki Trash. Nikki A.S.H. Miss Money in the Bank, Raw Women's
Nikki
Champion.
ass.
Who, Nikki Cross, the person, seems like a very nice person. She seems like a kind person that you'd want to be friends with. She is probably one of the favorites backstage. That's great. Nikki Cross is great. Her gimmick sucks.
It's so bad.
Her gimmick really sucks.
It just thinking about this for a minute. Imagine the story and just the excitement you get from this. Imagine a crazy, rabid, wild dog, Nikki Cross from NXT,
Exactly.
winning the Money in the Bank contract, The match ends in a DQ, like last night, whatever. She comes out like she just broke out of an asylum, comes
Exactly.
running down to the ring,
Destroy
and just
Charlotte.
like just destroys Charlotte and wins the title. That's great.
Exactly. That's how you see. That's where they went wrong with Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross coming out of NXT was great. They softened her up. They put her with Alexa. They split Alexa and Nikki, and that's when it really went downhill. And Nikki was off
Yeah,
TV for
see,
a
look,
while. She just
Alexa and Nikki, they were a good team, and but the thing is the whole like basis behind it was basically Alexa was trying to get Nikki to calm down and be normal when it
exactly,
should have just stayed calm, collective, cute, goddess, Alexa, crazy Nikki. That's how it should have stayed the whole entire time they were a team. If
exactly.
you really wanted to do the team like that.
And so you you have Nikki now look like an idiot in a superhero costume. If I wanted superheroes, I'll be honest, I'd go to Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon or Disney Channel, whatever superheroes are on. If I wanted superheroes, I'd go watch Disney Channel.
And you know what? They did something I never thought they'd do. They made Nikki look dumb, right, with the gimmick,
Exactly.
really dumb and stupid, but made her look smart in the Money in the Bank match. I
And
can't count on my fingers how many times there's been moments where people have been so close. At Mustafa Ali, for example.
exactly. They
If
just
we
sit
if we
there.
if we have a Nikki brain, Ali just would have grabbed the briefcase and dipped. But
Exactly.
he just
Before
stood there,
Brock could touch him.
because it's like the story. Oh, he's in shock, right? Everybody fighting on the ladder, trying to grab the briefcase. Nikki jumps over their shoulders, just hey, grabs it, like it just made everybody look like toddlers. Like,
You made Nikki look smart at the expense of 6 other women.
right? She's the only one who thinks. Like, I don't get that. Now people saying, oh, she has a superhero mindset. No, 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 no. It's the whole thing is just bad. It's
People are actually
terrible.
buying into this whole superhero power inspirational thing. Either A, you have the 6-year-old brain, a 6-year-old child's brain, or you are just so incredibly easy to please that, you know, pretty much anything. Because this is bottom of the barrel right here. This whole Nikki trash thing is bottom of the barrel stupidity type storyline. It is. So, you know, you're incredibly hard to please if you actually like this.
And then the way she won it, that weak cross body. Snoop Dogg had a better cross body than Nikki Cross
Yeah,
did when she won that title.
Snoop Dogg had no business being in AEW. You walked in there, jumped on the jumped on the top rope, and did a freaking cross body, and it looked better than Nikki's.
Nikki's was so weak. That better not be her finisher.
If that's her finisher, no. But Raw Women's Division has now, its fate has been sealed. It's very bad. Nobody cares about it. Bring me somebody who cares about it. And now you pretty much prove the point that you're just giving Charlotte title reigns to make her look good. And now Rhea looks even stupider. I didn't think that could be possible, but she looks even dumber.
Granted, they put on a good match at Money in the Bank, but and the sad thing is, not a lot of people noticed it at home because they were fed up with it and didn't care and took a bathroom break
Exactly.
during the match. It was really good. Now I stayed in bed and I just watched anyway, and I was looking up to see them put on an actually really good match.
All right.
But most people didn't even notice
No.
because they didn't care.
It was a really good match. And they put on a show. That was their best match of all the matches they had. And you know, you do it again. Why would you do it again? You do it
Yeah, that's my thing.
you
The
do it
night
again
before
on
you have
Raw.
them, the night before you have them have the best match of the rivalry. Then the next night the rematch is the worst
Exactly.
in a matter of 24 hours. That's so bad. That's embarrassing.
And then it ends in a DQ. Why would you give Charlotte the title to have not only another DQ win, but a stupid cash in? That cash in was one of the worst cash ins I've seen. She did a cross body. You're telling me Charlotte Flair can't kick out of a crossbody after being attacked by Rhea? A dead horse could have kicked out of that crossbody. But
That crossbody shouldn't have been able to keep Charlotte down.
no, she should have just rolled through.
I can't with that with Raw, bro.
There's so much to say about it. I hated the decision. Nikki Cross is a cool person. I like Nikki Cross. I hate her gimmick, and I hate the fact that they're investing into it.
In the end, they're really just on a Charlotte agenda, just trying to give her another reign. When I tell you, the times you hold the title is not as important as the reigns like you have like during that time. See, I don't want to keep talking about NXT, but I have to. This is why NXT is so good at what they do. When they have champions,
they have long reigns.
That's why they have limited 2-time champions. Like there's not that many, because the reigns are memorable for that one time.
And I'm probably the biggest NXT UK fan you'll find.
Oh my!
They've had what, 3 United Kingdom champions in 4 years?
3. That's it. 3.
Tyler Bate
and
Pete
look,
Dunne,
Walter has had the champion for forever, and nobody is bored of him.
Exactly. He puts on classic
matches. He hasn't gotten stale.
He puts on classic matches every time he's in the ring. He can work with anybody on the roster. He knows how to make feuds work. And I don't see that from anyone else.
And then in the same time when he looks like a beast, he knows how to put the person who he's fighting over.
Exactly. Ilya
because
Dragunov.
Walter will sell so much to the point where you think, oh my gosh, is Walter actually allowed to lose?
Right. Ciampa, the match with Ciampa, you can't really say you thought that Walter was going to lose because it was to Ciampa and there was no reason for that.
Yeah. And that was kind of dumb because, the next day he was defending the title. So it was almost kind of like they spoiled that Walter was going to retain.
Yeah. But it was still
so
good
I
to
didn't
see
really
a
like that.
match.
Yeah, it was still,
I really enjoyed it. But
that really might have been like the best match at that whole takeover if I go back and think about the match that happened at takeover.
I don't remember all of what happened, but it was really good.
Yeah.
But back to the Nikki point. Like you said, number of reigns is nowhere near as important as the quality of the reign. Charlotte hasn't had a good title. I like Charlotte. I think she's boring on the mic. She can wrestle, but she hasn't had a good reign since 2018.
2016.
I haven't cared about a Charlotte feud or match since 2018.
Oh yeah.
The feud with Becky and the
Becky carried the mess out of that rivalry.
Yeah. And
oh my gosh.
The last 2 matches I've cared about involving Charlotte Flair were Evolution against Becky and TLC with Asuka and Becky, the latter match.
Yeah, that was good too. That was good.
So nothing Charlotte has done for quite a long time I really cared about. So just putting more reigns on her to boost her resume, it doesn't work for me. I see right through it.
Dumb. And it's only because, her last name. That's all it is. And when the fact of the matter comes down to it, you always say, who's gonna pass Ric Flair's title reign first? Is it Randy Orton or Cena? And the sad thing is, it's neither of them. It's going to be Charlotte.
Yeah, it's sad. But what are you gonna do? Vince has the agenda. Nothing's gonna change. We'll get more into the whole Nikki Cross situation. When we get to that part of the show. But now we're gonna go into the Raw review. So we've just spent 50 minutes talking about things we liked and didn't like on the show. But the show opened with John Cena. He addressed the WWE Universe. He talked about how he missed the feeling of being in front of fans for so long. He talked about how he ruined the championship celebration of Roman Reigns because he wants
Yeah.
to challenge Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. It's not because he wants his 17th title, but because Roman Reigns is an a-hole and needs to be humbled.
Yeah.
He calls Roman overrated, and he calls him a gimmick. And he says that good people acknowledge themselves, but great people get acknowledged back. And then, once Cena begins to leave, Matt Riddle interrupts him, basically. And they,
Yeah.
say bro, the word bro, over and over about 15 times.
Which was more entertaining than the rest of that show.
Exactly.
But, you know.
I'm a big John Cena fan. It got old when he was just there constantly. But I was really excited to see him on the show. Aside from that, like I said, that was really the only thing I cared about on that show. But, John Cena has always cut a good promo, had a good little interaction with Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's so entertaining. He could have an entertaining segment with a tree. And they really need to invest some time with him. For Cena, he's going to be facing Reigns at SummerSlam. I'm excited for that feud. The match, the promos, the build leading up to it is going to be a true SummerSlam main event. And it's going to bring everything it needs to. From
And
Matt,
I'd like to make this quick statement about John Cena.
right,
People, often say, "How do you get upset at Goldberg but not get upset with Cena?" One, Cena comes back to put people over,
right,
you know, and Cena's just likable. Not only that, a report came out today that Cena is not just here for his Roman feud to be here on Raw and SmackDown, but he's also going to be at every live event that goes to every city leading up to SmackDown. I
right.
mean, to SummerSlam.
Like, we're going to an
Gold.
event in Charlotte on August 14th, and John Cena's scheduled to be there.
John Cena's going to be there. He's going to schedule the rest of it. It's like it's almost like he's back, like he never left,
Yeah.
doing what he did. He's back here for part time, but doing like a full time role. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
He's doing what a full-timer
Goldberg,
does.
yeah, Goldberg would never, never.
Goldberg does not care. Quite frankly, he does not care about the future of the company. He doesn't care about putting people over. He only cares about himself and his paycheck, which is the complete opposite of John Cena. When I look at John
And let's
Cena,
hope, yeah,
go ahead.
let's hope that that they don't extend Goldberg's contract, because if everything comes to its plan, next year is Goldberg's last year giving us these mediocre, not even just terrible matches.
Right. And we have to deal with 3 more Goldberg matches, right?
Yep.
One this year, which will be Bobby, and 2 next year, which, I really don't care which ones they are, just as long as they get over. And there's a difference. I'm really excited for what John Cena does because John Cena is just that good. Goldberg is not.
No.
There's a big difference. But, John Cena cut a great promo. Matt Riddle, they had a great interaction, which led into a 6-man tag team match between
Which was very, yeah.
Riddle and the Viking Raiders. They teamed up to take on John Morrison and the Raw Tag Champs AJ Styles and Omos. It was a good
Very
back
fun
and
match.
forth match. It was very fun. I think the highlight of it all was Matt Riddle spraying Omos with the dripstick and blaming Miz.
Yeah.
I laughed. I probably shouldn't have, but I laughed. Omos turned on Morrison, which caused him to get hit with the Viking Experience. And Matt Riddle and the Viking Raiders won.
I don't know. I'm starting to get a feeling that after their 2 years of being on the main roster, I feel like they're finally starting to see something in the Viking Raiders.
Right. I kind
Now,
of see it.
even though in their first year they won the tag team titles, that's when the tag team titles were irrelevant and nobody
Cared
cared.
about them. No.
Yeah.
Once they took him off the OC and gave him to Braun and Seth, nobody really cared about him.
No.
But I kind of want to get your opinion because, the tag division was showcased here. We had the Viking Raiders, we had the tag champs, and we had Riddle, who we know is, in a team with uh, Randy Orton. So,
Yeah.
in your opinion, Brandon, how do you see this playing out with Matt Riddle and Randy Orton? Do you see Randy Orton coming back soon to kind of insert themselves into the picture for SummerSlam? Or do you see, um, Randy coming back to face Matt Riddle at SummerSlam? What's your thoughts on this whole situation?
So yeah, I definitely think that Randy and Riddle are gonna, be involved in the tag title picture and be in the match at SummerSlam.
Right,
Whether it's whether it's against AJ and Omos or whether it's a triple threat tag team against AJ and Omos and the Viking Raiders.
right.
And when it happens, I do see them winning. I feel like they have the titles till around. I think they have a good reign, and I say maybe around like Rumble time
Yeah, that's what I
or
was thinking.
after they lose it, because I feel like this is building up to a Randy Orton versus Matt Riddle match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling.
If they don't do it around SummerSlam, I definitely see them doing it at WrestleMania. Um,
Yeah,
but what are the way it looked to me tonight with the announcement of Omos and AJ defending against the Viking Raiders next week, do you think that it's not just going to be AJ and Omos versus Randy and Matt? Do you think it's going to be like a mixture of tag teams in this match?
so I think it really depends on how it goes next week, because if AJ and almost defeat Viking Raiders again, and then
Right.
let's say like Randy Orton and Riddle just come out like with the RKO, I think it's safe to say that Viking Raiders have been written off this rivalry and they're just going to focus
Yeah,
on Orton and Riddle.
I
But
definitely
yeah, it
see that
really depends
happening.
on how the match goes next week.
But
If AJ and almost, yeah,
the way it looked tonight to me, it seemed like they have legitimate plans for the Viking Raiders to be involved in
yeah,
something. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but I'm not opposed to it. A triple
no,
threat between these three teams would be probably a good look, judging by the way they all perform. We know how good.
and then I think that's the better way to go, because like then you wouldn't have to rely on AJ to do all the work in the
Right.
match. You'd have them, almost did a little bit of stuff, but to have like what made the match so fun, AJ Styles' ability to be like so flexible and do all the stuff he does. It's AJ Styles. So
Right.
when you add Randy Orton and Riddle to that mixture, it makes it more fun to see.
Right.
And then you still have almost come in and do his big man spots. And then
Exactly.
At SummerSlam, at SummerSlam, I feel like almost is definitely gonna get like taken out, like brutally.
Yeah.
And then it's just gonna be like just like Styles, but Styles is he's still gonna be able to hold his own. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I'm looking forward to see what they do.
Yeah, I'm
But
definitely
I
interested.
just hope it's good. Yeah.
The tag team
You, you know,
division is not good.
this is like the first time in a while I've been kind of interested in the Raw
Right.
tag team division. Last time I was is when the Hurt Business was a thing, but
Yeah.
it feels like it's been a decade since they've been a thing. So
Right. So we'll get something. I assume what's gonna happen is next week we'll know what the SummerSlam match is gonna be. I
yeah,
I can't tell you right now what it's gonna be in, but the way it looks, it's either gonna be a triple threat or just the RK Bro match with AJ and Omos. But we now move to the next part of Raw. It was an Elias and Jackson Riker Symphony of Destruction match. Nobody cares about this. Um,
this is what I will say. I'm very happy that Elias has his old thing back. Hello, I'm Elias. I really missed that.
it's
I
old.
forgot.
I don't care
I
about
didn't
the new one.
realize. I didn't realize how much I like missed the whole thing, the whole shtick with it, because like it just brought back memories of how over Elias was. It's
I'll
like his
say
first
this.
couple years on the main roster.
I don't care about the gimmick anymore. Like the what he does anymore. I don't care. Quite frankly, it's not fun to me. I don't find any interest in it. You know, I get why you do because it was old. It used to be cool. Now it's not. So
Yeah, I feel you.
I just don't care. And I'm not going to touch on the match or anything. Um, Jackson Riker won the match. It was not
I
good.
don't know why they're so on Jackson Riker. Like nobody likes him.
But the thing
Like
that I noticed was that when Jackson Riker came out, that was not a real crowd reaction. He got cheers, and I guarantee you nobody around the United States of America
bro.
got
Yeah,
cheered.
yeah, yeah. I
It
don't
was
know if
fake crowd
anybody
noise.
noticed this. Yeah, if when he was on his little backstage segment, right?
Hmm.
He was like, "Hey, Elias." They turned to him, dead silent.
Right.
He finishes what he has to say, pop,
Yeah.
but it didn't seem like a genuine pop.
It wasn't. It was
It
definitely piped in.
wasn't.
And I'll
It
say
was
this:
piped in.
I've noticed. I noticed on SmackDown, none of the reactions were fake. There was definitely some piped in crowd noise tonight.
You can tell like when there's a
Right.
difference
Exactly.
because like when it's real, when, like the echoes in the arena from a piped in standpoint, it just sounds different.
Yeah.
First of all, when it's piped in, it sounds like there's like a whole bunch of like a million people in the arena, and it's not.
Yeah, you can tell. You can definitely tell what's real and what's not. And that Jackson
Yeah,
Riker pop was not real.
yeah, that piped in like that crowd noise sounded like it was like a WrestleMania cheer.
Exactly.
The fact of the matter, there was not that many people there
Yeah.
to do that. Like nobody cared.
Nobody cares about um Jackson Riker. Nobody at all.
No.
But we're not going to spend any more time on that. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville were backstage with Mansoor as Mustafa Ali came up to him. You know,
Oh my god.
Mansoor wanted a tag match with Ali. So before we move on to the next part of the segment, what do you make of this whole thing with Mansoor and Ali?
So yeah. Coming off since we were just talking about the Raw Tag Team division where they're headed.
Right.
See, now I might be the only one about this, but if this is where I think it's going, I'm really excited because I feel like the way they're going with Mustafa Ali and Mansoor is a Cesaro and Sheamus way,
Mm-hmm.
like pathway
That's what I
to
noticed.
where Cesaro, Mansoor Cesaro, and he's over. Now
Mm-hmm.
Mustafa, you know what? I feel like both this year. I don't think Mustafa is gonna get booed like Sheamus, but
Mm-mm.
I think it's gonna take time for them to grow on each other. Well,
Right.
Mustafa Ali more than Mansoor because you can tell Mansoor respects Ali
Right.
and wants to do this. And I feel like when it's said and done, they're gonna be a great team, and they're actually gonna make them a legit tag team now.
Definitely.
Now you can say it's thrown together, but it's just not like out of nowhere. They're building to it
You're right.
to make them an actual team.
It's been a slow grind and build to where they bring them together. And we were talking about how we could see that tag title picture at SummerSlam play out. I can't be the only one that looks at this situation and says there could be a fatal four-way at SummerSlam
Yo, and
between
I'm just saying, like that'd
between
be
those four
great.
teams. That's there's so many ways you could go about it. You can get AJ and Omos, the exposure that they need for Omos. You can get Ali and Mansoor on the card in a big way. I don't know if you'd
Yeah,
call it a big way, but a bigger way than what they'd be without each other. You can get
yeah,
Matt Riddle and Randy Orton solidified as a team. And you can get
yeah.
another classic match out of the Viking Raiders because at any given moment they can deliver. So,
Oh yeah, that match right there, that tag match in itself would have like a NXT vibe wrestling moveset. It'd be
right.
like one of the best tag team matches like to remember. That'd be
So,
very good. I'd love to see that.
I think if they go that way, you're looking at probably the most important tag match on Raw in quite a long time. And you
Yeah,
haven't had many big tag matches
no,
in the
you have not.
Raw or SmackDown tag team division in a very, 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 very long time.
Really, really, ever since they changed the Raw tag team titles to the red and silver, clearly there really hasn't really been that many memorable rivalries. You can go out and say, you know, John Moxley and Seth versus the Bar. Like, that was
Right.
cool because they got back together. And this thing about the Raw tag team titles and the SmackDown tag team titles, the only time they've been relevant, they've always been held by the same people.
Right.
That's not good.
No, it's not. And The second part of this segment was, it's not interesting, but I did notice that Sheamus walks in and he asks why Humberto Carrillo is getting another opportunity, and Sonya Deville has the balls to say, "We don't give handouts here on Raw." Oh, really? Is that so? I want to get your thoughts on that, Brandon. What did you think of that line from Sonya Deville?
Oh, what was it again? We don't give handouts on Raw.
Yeah. Then why is
Yeah,
Bill Goldberg getting a WWE Championship match
yeah.
at SummerSlam?
It's almost like Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. You know what they say is stupid, but they can't do anything about it.
Exactly. That's just the
You
way
know,
they're being written.
it almost brings me back to back in January when the Royal Rumble was happening,
Mm-hmm.
when when they were like, if you win this match, you can be in the Rumble,
Yeah. And then they just gave out a
but
shot to somebody.
they just gave out a spot.
Right.
And then not only that, they thought we were stupid, and then the people who lost their matches were in the Rumble anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, and it comes down to the point where WWE thinks their audience is really dumb.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
They think
They
we're
think
stupid.
they think we're stupid.
So, my thoughts on this whole thing was, if you're going to say we don't give handouts on Raw, then you have to be consistently consistent in the way that you book things. Because I look at the thing with Goldberg. He's coming back and he's being handed a shot, presumably, right? I look
Mhm.
at John Cena. He's coming back. He's being handed a shot. You look at who else? Who else is being handed stuff? And you can look back anytime Goldberg is on TV. He's
Yeah,
being
just been handed things.
handed a shot.
And it just comes down to like it's at a point where they have to do it
Exactly.
because you haven't built anybody up enough to just give them give them like if this was a pay per view like Backlash or something like that,
Right.
then yeah, I'd be fine with somebody like some young talent who's really good at what they do having a world title shot. But
Right.
when it's a show like SummerSlam, you need somebody who's over who will fill seats.
Right. And they don't have that.
And the fact of the matter is, you haven't built anybody up enough to where they have that effect.
No. But it looks like they're going to go with Damian Priest for SummerSlam, but we'll
Yeah,
cover
well, okay,
that.
which I'm glad about. I see what they're trying to do. They can just go a different way about doing it.
Yeah, we'll cover that in a second. But up next we had Charlotte Flair's Championship Coronation. Basically, this was, Charlotte, her annual "I won the title" promo. But one thing I want to cover in this
She does
was
this
the
every
line
time.
about Becky Lynch. And it came after the crowd was chanting, "We want Becky," or Becky chants. I
Yeah,
don't remember exactly what they were saying. And
yeah,
she said, and I quote, "While Becky has been home breastfeeding, I have been here dominating." So Becky had a nice little response on Twitter, which, if you want to see it, go look at it for yourself. Um, but then Rhea
no,
came out.
I know. I remember exactly what she said. She said, "I'm sitting at home breastfeeding and still the most over woman in the division,"
Well,
which
there
rings
you
very
go.
true.
There you go. Becky's more over than Charlotte, and Charlotte is not, or Becky is not even
And Becky's been
around.
gone for over a year, so yeah.
Um,
And the
that's
fact of the
kind of
matter,
sad.
Charlotte's just mad.
Yeah, Charlotte can't stand other people being in her spotlight. It's quite perplexing, if you ask me.
And the sad thing about it is, it's not even just her character; it's how she really feels.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Charlotte can't handle not being like not the best.
Yeah. Now, if it makes sense if this was like a story, but it's the fact of the matter that Charlotte went out of her way off script to do what she did.
Right.
Not only last night to say what she said, but in Money in the Bank to flip the crowd off.
Uh-huh. So,
So yeah,
Rhea came out. Rhea said that she wants a rematch for the title, but Charlotte says no. However, Adam Pearce and Sonya came out, and they made the match official anyway for the main event, Charlotte versus Rhea. So everybody was expecting Becky at this point. I was expecting Becky at this point.
I think everybody was expecting Becky.
They gotta bring her back. It's happening this week. It has to. So they didn't do it on Raw. So it's I do not see a
Bro,
world where Becky does not
if
come back
if
this week.
Becky comes back and she's moved to SmackDown, the Raw Women's Division is done.
Exactly.
They have no hope.
They have nobody left.
Becky, and even when Becky comes back, she's not going to save the division, but she's going to put the eyes back on it.
Yes.
SmackDown Women's Division is really stacked.
They're
They
just not
really have
booking them
all the
correctly.
star power. Yeah.
So everybody's expecting Becky, and so am I. But my initial thought when this match was made official is, why are they doing it again? You know, they put on a great match last night. Why ruin it by trying to do it again?
Yeah,
It didn't make sense.
yeah, I'm about to go back to WWE things were stupid. I saw everybody saying, "Nah, I know everybody's complaining, but it makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
It's a rematch. It's a rematch because Rhea just lost the title last night, and it's just a former champ that wants the rematch. Dude, does anybody not remember when Triple H came out and said that
No more
champions would no
automatic
longer?
rematch clauses.
Yeah, no more automatic rematch clauses.
Yeah.
Like
It,
we
it
don't forget.
no.
It's not like this was said back in the '80s. It was only said a couple years ago.
It was said.
We,
I believe my exact date might be incorrect, but in my terrible memory of this situation, it was December 17th, 2018. I don't know if that's 100%
yeah,
true.
yeah. I remember it was either the beginning of the year or the end of the year,
Right.
but I know it was a few years ago. Yeah.
So this was a bit anger inducing because I'm tired of this match. But what are you gonna do? Yeah. We move on now to women's tag team match with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax teaming up against Natalya and Tamina. So the first thing I notice here is they plan on keeping Nia and Shayna as a tag team, which I do not like. I think both of them are better off away from each other. I feel like Shayna has been wasted on the main roster, and they need to put her in a position to succeed, and they have not done that. What are your thoughts on them still being used as a tag team, Brandon?
So I was actually getting really happy at this point when the match was over because this match is relevant. We have no point in actually talking about the actual match. It was stupid.
Right.
Um, when I think everybody else in the crowd, I don't know if I'm the only one who caught on to this, but when the match ended and Shayna was talking to Nia and Reginald, the crowd was getting so happy because we felt Shayna was about to just beat the crap out of both of them and just
Right.
leave. When Nia Jax headbutted Reginald and stayed with Shayna, you could hear the disappointment in the crowd.
The air kind of deflated out of the
Yeah,
crowd.
it was like Shayna.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, like why keep them together? Like it's almost like, and this is Nia Jax really does need Shayna because like without Shayna, Nia Jax, I don't know what Nia Jax would be doing.
Not
She'd
much.
probably still be doing something on the show because but I don't. Ugh.
Yeah, it's
Shane, oh my
it's
gosh,
kind of
Shayna has been looking like a joke forever now.
yeah.
Like
I don't
she
like
was,
the fact that they're still using them as a team.
I don't understand it. Literally, the only most dominant NXT Women's Champions,
Right.
Asuka and Shayna Baszler.
It's confusing. It's anger inducing.
Oh man.
It's tough. But we had it was whatever. A whatever match. Nobody really cared about it. It most of it happened in the commercial break. Post match, Nia and Shayna were arguing, teasing a potential face turn for Shayna. Nia turned on Reginald. Akira Tozawa ran to the ring.
Oh
Reginald won the
God, I
24/7
forgot this
title.
happened.
Reginald won the 24/7 title. I laughed my butt off when he did that flip move and pinned um Akira.
You,
It I didn't I don't like it, but it
I looked at my TV. I looked at my TV and I was just amazed. I was like, they're really still doing this.
yeah, there's no reason for the 24/7 title anymore. It's dead. It's been dead. It's a joke.
And there was a point. There was a point for like 3 weeks where everybody thought, "Oh, did they like secretly retire it?" And out of nowhere, you just see
Yeah.
Akira Tozawa come out, R-Truth come out. I'm like, okay, well, never mind.
Without our
And
truth,
then, okay, well, I'll wait till we get back later into the show. I was about to say something, but yeah.
without our truth, the 24/7 title thing has been very very bland. It's been bland, I mean. So, I don't know. It there's just nothing interesting about it.
Nothing at all.
But nonetheless, Reginald's the new 24/7 champion. I don't know why, but that was all right. I don't care though. Next up, we had Sheamus versus Humberto Carrillo in a quote-unquote championship contenders match, which is, I guess, what they're calling number one contenders matches or non-title matches now. It was an alright match. It was slow, and then it picked up, and then the finish was, I like the finish with Humberto trying to hit Sheamus's steel mask, and Sheamus headbutted him, which the mask is legal. So he used the mask to kind of take out Humberto. He hit him with a bro kick. He won the match. And at the end of the match, they had Damian Priest watching on the TV backstage. So, Brandon, we know they're kind of building towards a Priest and Sheamus feud, but I want to get your thoughts on not only this match, but the direction you think they are going in for SummerSlam.
So, I've noticed there's like a pattern going on here with Damian Priest. Anytime he gets involved in a rivalry, it's in an expense of somebody else,
Right.
not because of just him. With Bad Bunny, they have they're both in the Latin community,
Right.
and he was just there for him. They were friends, whatever. And that's how we got Damian Priest in the match with Miz Morrison at Mania. And now, same thing, Humberto, Damian, part of the Latin community. He's just here to save Humberto, which is going to involve Damian Priest, just getting involved with Sheamus. My thing is, why can't Damian Priest just get something because it's just him? You know what I mean? Like, find some way to just get him over and just stop having him, just like save people and just, give him his own type of stuff, give him his own matches, just have him win. And then just one day, just have him call out Sheamus. And
Right.
what you do is have Sheamus, like reject his offer like the first couple of times, and then have them do something, that gets them up. And don't give them a match on TV.
No, it needs to be a big time match on a pay-per-view.
You just build up to it. It's like WWE. It's like they know what to do, but like they're like, I don't feel like it.
Do it.
They refuse to do it. Like I don't
understand it sometimes.
I can't wrap my head. I said this last night. WWE, this would get some good money. You want to make some money? I would tour all of the management backstage. I would go on a tour to every city and have a fan city council meeting, so where we can just ask questions.
Yep.
I'd pay money and go to that because I need to know what's going on in their brains and their mindset.
They come here to Charlotte. They need like a press conference type thing.
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, you were worried. They get hella money off of it. I mean, I just don't. Yeah, man.
Here's what I'll say about this segment. The match was fine. It wasn't something I'm gonna write home about. After the match, we know where they're going with Damian Priest. That's cool. I think Damian Priest needs to win the United States Championship. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, which he most likely will.
Damian Priest needs to win the US title.
If Sheamus retains, I won't be upset. But I mean, I know they're gonna give us, I know they're gonna give us a great match. And I'm just glad, the match is happening. Like Raw tonight, it had a lot of non-confirmed, confirmed matches.
Right, like they teased a lot of things, and they pretty much confirmed a lot of stuff, but they
They
didn't
they
say.
they they really confirmed their whole side of their of SummerSlam and what
Right,
they're
we know where
doing.
they're going, except for the women's title. We don't. I have no idea what they're
Yeah, we
doing there.
really. I have no idea. You don't know if they're gonna do.
Nikki
Uh,
winning put threw a monkey wrench into everything. I thought.
that's what I'm saying. Are they gonna do Nikki versus Charlotte? Nikki versus Charlotte versus Rhea? Nikki versus Charlotte versus Rhea versus Becky? Give the Charlotte back to. Are they gonna, bro? Are they gonna give Nikki a 1 week reign?
I think so. I don't see her holding the title for long. I don't.
I could definitely see Nikki Cross getting the Zack Ryder treatment.
Yeah, I don't see her holding the title for long at all.
But what else happened? What's after this?
We have
Is it Drew and Jinder yet?
Bobby Lashley and his open
Ah,
challenge. I was kind of surprised
wow.
this wasn't closing the show.
Yeah, this would have been a way better. Even though Goldberg sucks and nobody cares, would have been a way better way to close out the show.
Yeah, I kind of thought this would close out the show. I was actually
But
very
then
surprised when it didn't.
when you think about it, it's a Money in the Bank cash and yada yada
Yeah,
yada. But whatever.
we had Bobby um, talking about how he demolished Kofi Kingston, and MVP talks about, you know, how the crowd is lucky to be in Bobby's presence, which it's not true. Um, but I find Bobby quite boring. I like Bobby, but he's boring. MVP makes fun of the Dallas Cowboys and talks about how Kofi has insulted Lashley by calling him soft. He admits that Kofi was right and apologizes to Bobby. And he issues his challenge. Keith Lee comes down to the ring. And we have that match. It, like we talked about it to open the show, it wasn't good. Keith's return should have really reminded people how good of a star he is, but he pretty much got squashed in this one.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna go through what I personally think should happen. Bobby and MVP should have been talking their talk. I destroy Kofi. Blah blah blah. Who wants to come out here and challenge me? Immediately, we should have heard Biggie's music.
Right. That's what should
Biggie
have
should have
happened.
came out. Biggie should have came out in regular clothes and just say, "Hey, I'm letting you know that I'm cashing in my money bank
Right.
contract at SummerSlam. I'm not doing it tonight. I'm giving you a heads up because you disrespected me, you disrespected my brothers, and I'm back to vouch for them. But not only that, I'm back for me, and it's my time. Yada yada
Right.
yada.
That's what they.
Perfect story.
That was the SummerSlam match they should have done.
That's what should have happened.
Right. And
But
instead we get Goldberg, which after the match, to everyone's chagrin, I guess you could say, Goldberg came out and without grabbing a microphone, uttered 2 words: "I'm next." We talked about it, we ranted about it in the beginning of the show, but I was very pissed off that they used Keith Lee as a gateway for Goldberg. There was no reason to do that to um, Keith. He deserves a spot in which he can come and be big in front of fans, and unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get that.
mm-mm.
Um, you know, you look at the whole dynamic with the WWE title picture, and it's not exciting.
No.
You have Lashley and Goldberg into SummerSlam, and then the only way I think he could be saved is with a cash in from Big E.
Yeah. The only way I'm accepting this is what needs to happen. Goldberg needs to lose at SummerSlam.
Right.
After the match, Biggie comes out, cashes in, and wins the title.
Right.
That's the only way you get anybody to look forward to the WWE title picture at SummerSlam.
Right. And I don't see them doing it any other way. I definitely think that Big E will be the WWE champion. He'll be back on Raw and he'll be celebrating with his brothers at the end of the night. But you never know. WWE tries to pull fast ones. I don't see any single way Goldberg wins. And I think
He better not.
And
He
I
better
think
not.
going into this fall, WWE is gonna run a title picture with Bobby and Big E.
Yeah, yeah.
But
If Bobby does retain the SummerSlam, I legit don't know what they do
yeah,
heading into like
if Big
Extreme
E doesn't
Rules.
cash in, I don't know what they're gonna do for
I
Clash
don't
of
know.
Champions.
I don't see why they would save it for any time after SummerSlam.
Yeah, it
It'd be reminiscent of Kofi Mania because they're in a big stadium.
right. They're gonna be in a football
It,
stadium.
yeah,
70,000 people, I think, is what it is. You have a chance to make something big with Big E. You better not miss.
that's my thing. You don't need Goldberg. SummerSlam
No,
is really almost sold out.
exactly. And people talk about Goldberg coming back for the ratings and all this and all that. Goldberg is there because Vince wants ratings. You're not getting ratings from Goldberg. Goldberg is not a ratings guy.
If Monday Night Raw has a decent rating from last night, I'm telling you, it's from Cena.
Exactly.
No question about it.
They'll
It's from
probably hit a
Cena.
higher rating than they have in weeks past, but that's because John
Exactly,
Cena was
and
on the show.
and I'm this is like I know this without and I don't know anything yet. The first hour demographic of Raw is going to be the highest, and it's going to go down
Exactly.
from there.
You'll notice the difference.
Yeah, you can tell the viewership. People are going to tune out from after everything after the first 30 minutes. People are going to stop. They stop watching
Exactly. And when the ratings come out, you'll see it, and you'll know exactly why Goldberg should not
because
be
it
there.
is the same old, bro. Same old, same old.
Exactly. But moving on, we had Jinder Mahal in the ring. He
Oh,
recapped his
fine.
feud with Drew McIntyre. This sucked.
Yes,
He talked about the
yes.
sword and the motorcycle, and he bragged about how much money he has and how it was his birthday. And Shanky, who should never open his mouth for the rest of his life, um, started to sing Jinder "Happy Birthday," which was quite nice of him.
uh,
It was quite nice of Shanky to sing his friend "Happy
so
Birthday."
this is I don't know why I don't know if anybody else has said anything about this, but they literally just chose two random Indian guys' talents
Exactly.
and just put them with Jinder Mahal. Literally, one of them is from the tag team Indus, and then the other guy was one of the guys who was at Superstar Spectacle
Yep.
and had a match, and he was just a giant. And the guy with the face paint on his face from Indus, he had a whole tag team partner. I don't know where he went, but they just put him with Jinder.
Yeah.
And then if you're gonna have two guys with Jinder, at least have them look alike.
Exactly. They look nothing alike. They have completely different, you know, garments that they wear. Gear, I guess you could call it. I don't really call it gear because it doesn't look like wrestling gear. But, you know, after Shanky sings Happy Birthday, you have Drew comes in from behind and he beats down Shanky with the chair. Jinder and Veer do nothing. This was a bad segment. Shanky got obliterated with a chair. I think that was all right. This is what Drew needs to do instead of being
See, this is
being a
what I'm about to
history
say.
teacher.
Because like people really thought, oh, people don't like Drew anymore. Did you notice how like Drew didn't have nearly as much booze last night as he did at Money in the Bank?
No.
Because people didn't know if he was about to win or not. Now that he's completely out of the title picture and doing something different, okay, it's Drew. We're happy to see him now.
Right.
You know.
And
And then at Money in the Bank was the only time I've ever been happy to see Jinder Mahal.
exactly. This segment was not special. I actually thought it was pretty bad. It was awkward the way Shanky sang Happy Birthday. It I don't know what to really
Yeah.
make of it. I know they're doing Drew and
The,
Jinder at SummerSlam, which is not what I want, to be honest.
they need to try some type of some with the story, bro. I don't know. They need to give us some type of little story to make us care.
Yeah, the sword and the motorcycle aren't doing it for me
No, that's
at all.
childish.
It's bad.
Why does this come off like some like a little kid who got dropped off at daycare? They give them a piece of paper and tell them write down a story, and this is what Raw uses for their
Exactly.
storylines.
Doesn't make sense to me. But it's
You
whatever.
just use anything.
This is not a storyline I care about at
I
all.
want to fight you at SummerSlam because you stole my goldfish.
Exactly.
This is what Raw does.
Right. Up next. Oh god, this is where it gets really bad. Really, really bad. Karrion Kross makes the stripped down entrance. No smoke, no mirrors, no Scarlet. Makes his way to the ring. We go to commercial. We come back. No More Words is back. I was ecstatic about that.
That got a really loud pop.
Yeah,
It was almost reminiscent of when the Hardys came back at WrestleMania. That's how
right.
big of a pop Hardy
It
got
got a huge
just
pop.
for a song.
It was good. I liked it. And going into this, we talked about it earlier in the show, but I thought from like legitimately 100% truth, Jeff Hardy was out there to get squashed and make Cross look good. You know, you could
Total
already
opposite.
it was a complete opposite. You could already tell that when they stripped down his entrance that they weren't going to do anything with him because his entrance is very very important to Cross. His appearance, his you know, whole moxie, I guess you can accredit to his entrance, and they took it away from
Mm.
him, and I do not understand why.
He he needs it. He
Exactly.
needs Scarlet. He needs the entrance. He needs it.
And that's not anything against him. It just makes
No,
him look
it's not.
more important.
When you WWE has to realize when you introduce somebody, Cross was introduced to us from NXT.
Right.
You know, that's how he came off. His
Right.
debut, during the pandemic era, um, his debut, it was really cool to see. It was so cool to see.
Right.
And WWE has to realize this is the only thing we've seen from Cross ever since he's been here in the company.
Definitely.
And that's what we're used to. Same thing with Keith Lee.
Right.
Everything we've seen, we've been used to, and when you change it out of nowhere,
It's almost like
it's
a slap in the
it
face.
yeah, and it's almost like, why would you do that?
Right.
That's so stupid. It's bad. It makes it bad because we're only used to that one thing. You can't just change it out of nowhere.
Yeah, I didn't like the way they handled it. Um,
And I saw people on social media saying, well, maybe they're just waiting from when he's fully done with NXT to bring Scarlett with him. What sense does that make?
yeah, it
What are
makes
you
no
gonna
sense.
what are you gonna wait for?
It really doesn't make any sense. People don't think sometimes when it comes to stuff like that. It blows my mind how many times people will just talk out of their butt saying, "Oh, this and that is going to happen.
It's
This and
p-
that is
it's
going to get
it's
better."
it's
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 BS.
people trying to get hired by WWE.
Exactly.
Like, I don't get how you watch this show and accept, and people have to realize when you don't start telling the truth and start complaining and start shitting on it, when you keep accepting it, they're not going to change.
Nothing changes
If
unless
if
something is said
if
about it.
if everybody thought the same way and just boycotted, they would
Exactly.
have to change.
You got to back them into a corner, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But, you know, the match was bad. It was 3 minutes. I wouldn't even call it a match. It was just it was just a barely anything.
This
But
sucked, bro. This
I,
show was
I don't
terrible.
understand it. It was very bad. Um,
Then, oh my gosh, this made me even more livid. This made me even more livid. Then they have the nerve
to
to
put him
have
on the
Kevin
mic.
Patrick put him on the mic, right? This I don't know if anybody ever noticed this, but they usually do this to jobbers before their match with like a person or
Right.
after.
They put the dude in the ring and they ask him how they feel.
Yeah, they literally do that to jobbers, and they did it to Cross. And I don't know what about it was, but when Cross talked last night, he sounded like a complete geek. He didn't even sound like himself.
Exactly. He didn't.
Nah, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna destroy Jeff Hardy. I'm
No.
like,
No, you're
who
not.
is
Carry on.
who is talking for Cross? That didn't even sound like him.
No. It.
They changed everything about him.
He said Jeff Hardy made a grave mistake. No. Carry on. You made a grave
You made a
mistake.
grave mistake by meeting with Vince.
Exactly. I would not answer the phone. If Vince called me up,
I,
I would not answer the phone.
I
But
don't I don't understand what I don't know what the problem is with Vince and what problem he has with Triple H and
I
everything
don't
he
know.
creates. I don't know. This is
It's quite confusing. But there's nothing more I want to say about it. It pisses me off that they use him like this. Um, I hope it stops, but I know it's not going to. But Jeff's back with no more words, so that's cool. I
the
really,
only
really
bright
don't.
side. The only bright side I can get out of this is maybe there's some type of Jeff Hardy push we get out of this. I
I
don't know,
hope.
but
I don't think so though.
it
But now we move on to, oh Lord, Alexa
is
Bliss.
Alexa. Yes, thank you, Jesus. Oh my gosh, I want to talk about this.
All right. So
You bring fans back, bro. Go ahead, finish. Tell them what happened, and I'll
close this
explain.
one real quick. So Alexa Bliss has her playground segment, and Lily's back, which is not what I wanted to see. Which here, before I continue, I'll just bring this up. You send Lily away because you know it's gonna get negative fan reaction, right?
This is exactly what I was about to say.
And then you bring her back once fans come back.
This this night of Raw was like, hey guys, welcome back. Remember the stuff you said, what we did in the pandemic era and the Thunderdome suck? Well, here it is. It's back. Enjoy it.
Right. It,
For what, bro? It's just so bad.
nobody likes Lily. 6-year-olds like Lily. But
Lily was a part of one of the worst Monday Night Raw endings in the history of Monday Night Raw.
yeah, it's very 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 bad.
It sucks, bro.
But
This
Alexa says that
this
Lily is
is
out of timeout, and then Eva Marie and Piper Niven come into
that's
the
her name. Yep.
screen, and they talk about how um Alexa wants to put Dewdrop in timeout
Oh
and let
my
Eva do
gosh.
something on her own, and then the worst acting job I've ever seen in my entire life. Eva and Dewdrop begin to leave, and then Eva just trips.
I'm gonna I'm gonna say this to everybody, and I just want this to let this sit for like a minute. As of July, whatever. What's today's date?
July 20th.
As of July 20th, this is your Raw Women's Division. Your champion is Nikki A.S.H, and your rivalry going on is Eva Marie versus a doll.
Yeah, it's very bad. it's it's almost like they think we're stupid. You know, a doll's there, right? And then you have the most unconvincing acting I've ever seen in my entire life. You have a a terrible gimmick for Alexa, and
This is what. Yeah, go ahead.
this entire segment isn't isn't pushing anything along at all. It's almost it's almost like they're trying to set up this women's division for failure because Alexa is not good with this gimmick. Eva
Not
Marie
anymore, at least.
Eva
No,
Marie is utter trash.
been trash.
She's been trash. She will stay trash. And nobody cares about the doll. Nobody cares about Dewdrop anymore now that they ruined her with that stupid name.
It's mind-boggling to me how different Raw and SmackDown is.
Exactly.
You know,
SmackDown is
it's almost like Vince on Monday gets stuck with babysitting duty backstage,
right.
and he has to make the show appealing to the kids to his grandkids that he's babysitting to make them stay quiet.
Right.
And then on Fridays, somebody else has the duty, and the show's good.
Right.
That's what it honestly feels like, but obviously it's not. I'm just talking out of my. But that's what it feels like. That's how bad the show is.
Right. And when you look at this women's division, this segment right here is why nobody cares about the Raw women's division. You have a superhero as your champ. You have two robots.
No, Will. No, Will. Almost a superhero.
Almost a superhero. Nikki Trash as your women's champion. You have two robots as your main eventers. You have a doll as one of your gimmicks. You have Eva Marie and Dewdrop and all these women nobody care about on your lower mid card, and it's like they don't care. Who cares about this? You know, this is why the Raw Women's Division fails week after week, is because they don't have credible storylines, they don't have credible gimmicks, and they don't have good storytelling in matches. It's unbelievable how different Raw and SmackDown's women's divisions are. I don't understand it.
It's just mind-boggling me how different NXT and SmackDown are from Raw. It's just like it's a
Exactly.
different company putting on a show.
Yeah, it truly makes zero sense in my eyes. I don't know. But anyway, now that we get that trash out of the way, it's time for the main event. Charlotte
Finally.
defends against Rhea. It was an alright match. It was probably one of their worst
How
that
long
they've
was
had.
this?
How long was
I
the
looked
match?
at I looked at the TV. You know, I saw them doing what they were doing, and then I just heard the bell ring.
It was a couple minutes. It ended in a DQ. It was probably one of their worst matches that they've had, coming off of an incredible Money in the Bank
Yeah,
match.
it definitely was the worst.
And then it did nothing for either woman. It was basically a throwaway match, and then after you had Rhea attack Charlotte, which everybody at this point was thinking Becky Lynch is going to come out. Becky Lynch is going to return. This is where Becky returns. Come on. And then you see the way they had the camera angle set up. It was facing the side of the ring with the Tron board, like the LED board on the side of the ring. And then you see the blue and yellow for Nikki A.S.H. And then she just comes out. She runs to the ring with her briefcase. Does the weakest crossbody I've ever seen in my entire life.
Snoop Dogg had a better crossbody
Snoop
than
Dogg's
Nikki A.S.H.
crossbody was better. And 1, 2, 3, Nikki Trash is the women's champion of Raw.
And the crowd goes crazy. You know, it almost feels like they got paid to do that.
Exactly. The way it felt watching at home, it felt like the crowd that was in attendance got paid to cheer for Goldberg and cheer for Nikki. Now, I don't want to sound like I hate Nikki, because I don't. I hate her gimmick. Nikki is cool, a cool person.
Okay, you know what? Well, I think that's what it is. I legit think everybody in the crowd was just happy for Nikki.
Exactly.
That's what I think it was.
I just can't stand her gimmick.
It's really bad, bro.
It is terrible. So, anyway, she celebrates on the outside. But I think this whole segment left me with some questions. A couple questions, and I'll get your thoughts on the questions I have. One, where do the plans for SummerSlam lie? Right? And I want to get your thoughts. What do you think they're going to do for SummerSlam?
I really don't know. Like, I have my mind set on like Charlotte versus Becky, maybe a triple threat with Rhea. And now, like I said earlier, there's so many options you can do. Nikki versus Charlotte. You can do Nikki versus Rhea. You can do Nikki versus Rhea and Charlotte. You can throw Becky in it and make it a fatal 4-way. No matter what you do, if Becky's not in the match, I guarantee you nobody cares about it.
No. And see, my prediction, I guess, is a triple threat between Rhea, Charlotte, and Nikki, because I think now that Becky didn't return last night, I see her going to SmackDown.
Now, if Becky goes to SmackDown, the Raw Women's Division is doomed.
Right. Like we said, nobody's going to care about that division. If the biggest attraction...
This is where Ronnie can start do. Don't even wait on the drive. Just start bringing women to the...
Exactly.
To the, like, just do what SmackDown's doing. Next week, you call up Kaylee Ray. Hey, we need you. You
Fact.
call up who else? Trying to think.
Tony Storm's coming up to SmackDown.
Tony Storm's coming to SmackDown. You know what? I really don't even know. You can't call up Ember because she's smart. And like, hell no, I'm not going back there. You
Yeah,
crazy?
no. She will not.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not that many options, bro. You know what they're gonna do next week?
What?
They're gonna have women's segments. Scarlett's gonna come out, attack somebody, the commentary team. Oh my gosh, who is that?
Yeah, they're gonna act like idiots, like they don't know who she is, when everybody knows who she is.
Corey Graves gonna start. She's gorgeous. Who is this? Raw Women's Division, look out.
Yeah.
What's her name? They're gonna give her a new name. I don't know what it's gonna be. Oh my gosh, Raw sucks.
I don't understand it.
Rematches and waste of life. That's what Monday Night Raw is.
Yeah, that's gonna be the quote for the week. Rematches and waste of life. But my second question is, and we kind of talked about it, but I want a definitive answer. Where does Becky play into this? Because
I literally don't know.
Becky wasn't
I
here
don't
tonight.
know.
And I don't really know where. If she shows up on SmackDown, that's where obviously she's gonna fit in. But I don't know, in the grand scheme of things on Raw, where it's going to benefit anybody. Like, if she's not on Raw, who is it going to benefit? Nobody. And the fact of the matter is, Becky's just that important to a women's division. You need Becky Lynch.
You do.
So, that's my main question for this.
And you know what?
This
You know what? Well,
segment.
that should be our leave off question. Have people in the comment section answer it. Send us DMs
Right.
or whatever, and we'll like come back and talk about people's answers and what we think and think if it's a good opinion or whatever.
Right. So I'm gonna ask all of the viewers, where do you see Becky fitting into the plans for SummerSlam, and what do you think the plans for SummerSlam are for the Women's Championship? Because there's a lot of ways they could go, a lot of different ways I could possibly see them going, but I want to get everybody's thoughts on what they think is going down at SummerSlam. So leave that in the comments. Overall, this show was not good.
No.
It didn't move anything. It didn't make me excited about things to come. So, this was really a waste of a show. The first Raw back in front of fans, and nothing has changed. Same old from the same creative team. And I don't see any change in sight, to be honest.
This is gonna be my final words. Anybody who gave this show a rating above a 3, you really just need to just stop.
Exactly.
Just stop and really just say how you feel.
Evaluate your, evaluate your standards for professional wrestling if you gave this show a good grade, because this show was not good. It was probably one of the worst Raws in a very, 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 very long time.
I'd say this is up there with Monday Night Raw after Hell in a Cell 2020.
Yeah, it was bad. But, you gotta stay mindful. This is not gonna change. Now, the roster may change. The whole, I guess you could call it dynamic of the crowd being back, it definitely is exciting. But man, it's not any better. So, we're gonna get out of here. It was a good first episode. We'll be back tomorrow for the NXT review. NXT's later tonight. We got, we talked about what we hope happens or what we think is gonna happen regarding Karrion Kross. We'll be back to talk about it tomorrow. But for now, this was your July 19th, 2021 Monday Night Raw review. For Brandon, I'm Will, and we are signing off from the Fourth Wall Wrestling Podcast.
And here's your daily reminder that Raw sucks.
Yes. We'll see you later, guys. Peace.